Hello and greetings. My name is David Curtis. I'm delighted to be part of Celtic Woodland Festival online this year, and I would like to share with you a sequence of activities that will help prepare for Padmasana, so the Lotus posture. You don't have to be able to do the Lotus to do this class. I should start by saying that. It will help lead you in that direction. If you can do the Lotus posture, it may help you maintain it for a longer period of time. So the Lotus pose traditionally is considered one of the most important postures because there are so many variations. A colleague of mine used to refer to it as the Swiss Army knife of poses, because there are so many different variations you can use, whether that's seated, lying on your belly, lying on your back, lying on your side, in inversions, arm balancing. You can do it in so many different ways. And one of the main reasons, in my understanding, that it was revered so much, and even to the extent where they said it was the king of all disease. My interpretation of that is that the number of benefits you can get from the numerous variations will stave off disease of most kinds if done on a regular basis. And you could probably say that about a good, strong, balanced yoga practice for a long period of time, but particularly Padmasana because of its effect on the inner winds, particularly the Panavayu, which is said to be the area in the body associated with the navel and down, and the back of the head and down, associated with elimination. And if we don't eliminate correctly, of course, there's a buildup of disease, toxicity, ama as it's called in Ayurveda. So we'll work with some activities that will physically open the body from the foot to the hip. All right. So of course, when we consider Lotus, maybe the first thought is, my hips have to be very open. Well, yes, there does have to be a certain availability in the femurs to externally rotate, of course, but there also needs to be an openness in the knees itself, the back of the knee in particular. There has to be a movement in the shin bone and an openness in the foot. So you could find yourself struggling for a long time in trying to get into the Lotus posture if you primarily just focused on the hips. You have to incorporate both the knee and the foot as well. So opening the top of the foot, bending and opening, making the foot more pliable, because of course you want to be able to turn the foot and place it in position. So taking stress on the top of the foot, on the toes of the foot is one aspect. Working the shin bone so that it rolls downward. The tendency can be that it moves upward, particularly if your knees are up high in a seated position. Then there needs to be a movement of the femur and the shin bone away from each other, creating space also at the back of the knee. Yeah? So you may find some activities are not necessarily looking very much like a Lotus pose in this practice, but because they're trying to focus individually from the foot to the shin, to the knee, to the hip, and then of course all those elements are incorporated into one seated position when you start to do the Lotus posture. It's important not to overstretch the ligaments in the foot when you're opening the foot. It's important not to strain the knee by working too much from the hip and not enough from the foot, for example. It's important to open the back of the knee. So when we work with opening the back of the knee positions, we'll show you in terms of releasing the calf away from the back of the knee and away from the knee itself. These small things will help create space at the back of the knee so that the stress goes into the hip and distributes towards the foot. In my experience, the knee is the innocent victim, particularly of the ego, trying to force itself into something. And I have personal experience of this over the years. Damaged both my knees from trying to force them into Lotus many years ago. It took a long time to heal, so don't do that. And be patient, take your time. The activities I present to you could take you quite some time to feel comfortable in, even though they don't necessarily look incredibly complex or too difficult. They may ask different parts of the limbs, lower limbs, to work a little more than others. And we'll see how we get to the end of the practice. I'll move towards the full posture. As I said, if you've never done it before, you may find yourself moving closer to it, and if you're capable of doing Lotus, you may find yourself being able to stay in it for longer, because of course it's considered a meditative seat, and so the indication there as a seat is that you sit and you stay. Yeah. So we'll start with opening the knees, because the knee joint, of course, has to be protected. Interesting, the knee is considered that which cannot be conquered. So don't try to conquer your knees in this practice. Just be aware of where your limitations are. You may need to sit on a block at some position or a blanket. I'll give you the hint or indication when that is necessary. Okay? So beginning with sitting on your heels. The tops of the feet are pointing back. The ankles are together. So not like this, like this. Hands on your knees. Sitting upright. I'm just going to grab a block. Those that need can sit on a block like so, or 2 blocks, or 3. Depending. Okay? Now, that'll be for later. For now, sit with the feet together. What you can do if you have a strap is you can strap the ankles together. I'm not going to do it now, it takes time. And, you can do it in your own time with the ankles strapped together, the feet pointing straight back. We'll interlace the fingers, press the palms up, inhale the arms up. So as you lift, try not to thrust the kidneys forward, take the kidneys back. Soften the front ribs. Lift out of your side ribs. The chin is in. The arms are straight. Release. So you stay where you are. I'm going to show you what we're doing, and then you can practice it. I'll talk you through it, because you might lose my voice with the if I talk and do it at the same time. That's called leading. It's not quite teaching. So I'll try and show you, and then I'll talk you through it as you're doing it. So keep your arms up, fingers interlaced. Extend from your elbow to your wrist. Take a couple more breaths. Long, slow exhalation. Slow, steady inhalation. Keeping the jaw relaxed, the face passive. And then as you exhale, let your arms come down by your sides. Now, so another aspect for the knee I want to mention is stabilizing the knee after doing a lot of bending with the knee. So that'll be straightening the leg, obviously, will be one indication of stabilizing it. So we'll do it after we start with the toes curled. You're going to lift your knees and sit forward of your heels. Sorry, behind your heels. Sit bones behind your heels, not forward, behind your heels. Knees are up high. You might even have to uncurl your toes a little more. Yeah, so my sit bones are behind my heels. I'm on my fingertips for balance. Knees are up high. Then I'm going to slowly lift my hips. As I lift the hips, the ankles stay together. You work the legs straight. Relaxing the head down so you're right up on the toes. Stay where you are. You may need to bring the weight of the hips slightly forward with the legs straight if you can. You might need to bring the hands forward a bit so you don't feel like you're teetering backwards. Your hips are right over your feet. The legs are straight. Firm your shins back as you press down through each toe knuckle. Then from here you're going to slowly lower your heels down. Uttanasana. Bring the hands back. If you can, fold the head in. Keep the shoulders broad. Arms together. Press your feet down to come up. Inhale. Exhale, release your arms. So you're going to stand with your feet shoulder distance apart. Take your right foot back. You're going to roll on the joint. So roll the right foot out. And in. And then we're going to change. Step the left foot back, roll the ankle out. And in. Feet shoulder distance apart. Take your head down. Around to the right. You have a neck susceptibility to stiffness or pain, even just do a much smaller circle. Changing direction. Head forward, slowly lift the head, collarbones, up, back and down. Other way, shoulder blades is the focus. Up, forward and down. And we're going to interlace the fingers, rolling on the wrist. Keep the forearms close. Changing direction. And release. Then we're going to turn from the waist to the right, to the left. Let the arm be loose. The front hand taps the top of the chest. Back hand the back of the hip. Two more. And release. Hands on the hips. You're going to circle the hip. And the waist. Changing direction. Then, one hand pubic bone, one hand tailbone. Bend your knee slightly. You're just going to circle the tailbone, the sacrum. Changing direction. Try not to move the hip too much. Good, and release, stepping in. Bend your knees, hands on the knees. You're going to circle the knees to the right. Try to bend deep from the back of the knee. Changing direction. Going up. Feet apart. Now we're going to bend the knees. You're going to roll up. Shift away from the heel to the toe. Roll the sacrum forward. Roll the spine up. Try not to fold forward. Keep the shoulders over the hips. Arms straight. Breathing freely. One more. Good. Standing with the feet shoulder distance apart. Make sure the feet are straight, yeah? They're not turned out. Straight. Parallel to the ends of your mat. And you're going to turn the palms open. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the hands down. As the hands come down, bend your knees. So you're taking the weight to your feet. As a curling of the hands like you're holding a grapefruit-sized fruit between your hands. Shift your weight a little more to the back of the heel. Let the feet spread on the floor. So what you don't do here is lean into your toes so your knees grip. Try to move from the top of your thigh back. That's it. And then weight down. Chin is in, elbows are wide, weight sinking. This is stimulating the blood as you take weight on the bones. Now we're going to start to shift. So inhale. As you exhale, shift your weight to the right, bend the knees slightly forward more. Try not to stick the hip out. You're moving from the space between your hands. Inhale to the center, exhale to the other side. Inhale to the center, exhale to the other side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You see, as I shift across, I stay low with the hip and I sink down a little more if I can. And back of the knee bends, the front of the ankle bends. More to the right. Sorry, your left. Inhale, center. One more to the right. Now, bring your palms at the heart. You're staying on the right side. Lift that left heel, pause. More weight on that right foot. Lift the whole foot above the knee. So you're taking the weight all on that right leg with the knee bent. Now you're going to work the shin of the right leg back and down. It's a particular action in the shin. Relaxing the left knee in space. Keeping the shoulders over the hips. Feel the weight shift a little to the center of the heel. And we're going to shift. So keep your hip down as you step. Make sure the foot stays straight. Shift your weight. Pause. Take more weight on that standing foot. Lift the opposite heel. Slowly place the ankle above the knee. Relax that knee in space. It's good to pick a focal point way in front of you. Keep the head up. Sternum lifts into the thumbs, shoulders relaxed. Sinking down. And we're going to step out. Feet parallel again. Hold the ball one more time. It's called Dandapada, or force of the feet. Try not to teeter forward on the toes. Sink down. Take the weight to the front of your heels, back of your heels, equally. And then we press down. And release. Good. Now the feet can turn out slightly. You're going to take a fist at your waist. We take a breath in. As we exhale, we squat and punch. Pull in as you inhale. Fist turned up. Punch as you exhale, sink. Fist down. Pull in, inhale. Squat down, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One more. Exhale. Inhale. Arms down, exhale. So as you do that squat, try not to lean forward, just to get lower. That's as low as I get without compensating. Now I keep the spine upright. So exhaling fully. Palms open, arms out, inhale. Hold the breath in. From eye level, exhale, palms down. Couple more. Inhale. Hold the breath. Exhale. Last one. Exhale. Standing with the feet hip distance, feet parallel, legs straight, hands on the hips. Now firm the thighs, so gaze the thighs towards the bones. Inhale, hinging from the hip as you exhale, Padmasana. Holding the ankles, lengthen the spine forward as you inhale, keep the thighs firm, slowly bend as you exhale. Relax the head, weight forward, head in. Stay where you are. Try to keep the weight even between the back of the heel, front of the heel, and let the ball of the foot spread. One more breath. Exhale fully. Place your hands on your hips. Pressing your feet down with your legs straight. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling at the top. Good, release the arms. Now, you're going to bend your knees again. You're a little narrower with your stance than the last time. You're going to shift your weight towards the right leg. As you bend your left knee up, interlace the fingers at the top of the shin, lift the knee up high, squeeze the calf and the thigh together. Standing tall. Now I'm not straightening the standing leg, I'm letting the weight be on the bones. Shoulders relaxed, mind your gaze straight ahead. Keep the raised leg, the foot's relaxed. Spread the weight on the standing foot. There, we're going to release, step, shift, bend the knee, make sure the knee's tracking over the center of the foot. The foot is straight, don't have the foot turned out. And then as you shift the weight, lift, keeping that standing leg bent, squeeze the shin, calf, thigh together. Stand up tall, keep the knee bent. Find your focal point. One more breath. Try not to lean. And stepping out. And release. Very good. Then you're going to step the legs out wide. Press down through the outer corners of the feet. Draw up through the thighs as you inhale. Hinging from the hip as you exhale. Padmasana, hands on the floor. Might feel like separating the feet a little wider. Inhale, lift the spine, gaze forward. Exhale, folding, hands back, head down. Keep thighs firm. Stay as you are. Keep the inner leg lifting as the outer leg presses to the floor. Exhale all the way to empty. Space behind the navel, draw slightly back on the empty. Hold that space back as you inhale behind the navel. Exhale again all the way to empty. Couple more breaths. Keep the legs working. Bones of the legs pressing towards the floor. Thigh muscles firming towards the hips, towards the bone. And exhale fully. On the exhale, lifting your head. Turn your heels in, toes out, hands on your ankles. Now we're going to be lunging. So you take a breath in, you lunge into the back of the left knee. As you sink the hip, look towards the straight leg. Try not to have the hip higher than the shoulder. Try to drop the hip, lift the chest. Then, bending the right knee as you shift slowly across. Look to the straight leg. Bend the knee as you inhale, shift across. Look to the straight leg. Straight leg, the shin is firm, little toe side on the floor. Bend as you inhale. Exhale. Bend as you inhale. Exhale. Inhale, shift. Use the elbow to shift the knee more in line with the center of the foot. Inhale, bend. Exhale, sink. One more time. Inhale, bend. Exhale, sink. Then turn towards that bent knee. You're going to turn on the heel, turn the foot out. Low lunge, back of the foot on the floor. Bring the trunk up. Exhale, release the arms down. Gaze up. Press that back leg firmly into the floor. Point the foot straight back. Hands on the floor. Inhale. Stretch your heels back as you move into chaturanga. Upward dog. Back to downward. Work the arms and the legs straight. Exhale fully. Right foot steps. In the lunge. Track the knee over the center of the foot. The foot can be back a little as the knee goes forward, because the weight's in the foot. Try to keep the space at the top of the thigh. Hands to the floor. Release back to plank. Arms straight. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Stepping the feet a little forward. Work your heels down. Press your thighs back. Hips up. Push the floor away. Couple more breaths. So I'll talk you through a couple more rounds. Exhaling fully. Left foot steps. 10 o'clock on the clock, yeah? 10 o'clock to the left foot. Come up, inhale with the trunk. Head back gently, exhale. Firm the back leg. Place the hands on the floor. Inhale. Chaturanga, bend the elbows as you exhale. Roll up as you inhale. Down dog as you exhale. Right foot steps to 2 o'clock. Inhale, trunk up. Firm the back leg on the floor as you exhale, sink. Gazing up. Head forward, hands on the floor. Inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, exhale. Inhale, rather. And down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, exhale. Arms and legs straight. So in your own practice, you could do a few more rounds. For today, we'll leave it at that. So exhaling fully. So you're going to bring your knees to the floor. With your knees wide, sit on your heels. Hands on your knees. Good. I'm going to do this from the side so you can see what happens next. So sitting on the heels. Now you can stay here. For example, if you're very tight in the thighs or tension in the knees, just try to stay here with the inner and outer knee the same height. Don't let the inner knee collapse. Those that can come back, you can start with the hands. I'm just trying to take my waist back and down. Those that can come onto the elbows. If you take the head, you can look straight ahead. If you can, you let the head go back. Keep a lift in the chest though, push the elbows down. And those that can come to the floor, separate the elbows. The knees might lift at first and then they come down. Try not to make a big arch in the lumbar. So I lift my knees so I can get my back ribs, and then I'll work my knees down over time, as opposed to knees down and a big arch like this, not like this. Hands can come to the thighs. Try to relax your kidneys to the floor, tops of the shins, working down. It's okay if the knees are up here. The weight's on the hip and the feet. Couple more breaths. And exhaling fully. Use your elbows, equally pushing down, take them back, and then push up. So between the deep knee bending poses, what we'll do is the vinyasa to stabilize the knee. Yeah? So we started with it earlier. So you're going to curl your toes, heels in front of your sit bones, you're high up on the top of the foot. Knees up high, and lifting the hips slowly with the ankles together. Work the legs straight. And slowly bend the knees. Bring the knees down. As you separate your feet, as they can, you sit between your heels. If you need to, you can sit on the block. So what you can do here is you can roll the calves, not just out, but press them back. So you create space at the back of the knee without changing the rotation too much. And hands on the knees. And then we're going to move backwards again. So you can stay upright if necessary. If you can come back onto your hands, press the shins into the floor. If you can come back on your forearms, keep a lift in the chest. Don't pull your shoulders back so much as lift the sternum. And let the head go back. When the head goes back, don't collapse. You've got to push down into the elbows. Extend your chin back. Exhaling all the way to empty.